Jaylen, we've seen first couple of practices, safeties are working at both spots. You guys are still doing that. How's that going for you?
Oh no, it's going good. Just working on versatility, being plug and play anywhere. Just like Coach G said, just keeping us all versatile. Make sure something happens, everybody's ready for anything.
What's the key to being ready for it?
Practice. All these practices in the spring. Obviously, we have fall camp coming up, and just make sure it's all about reps and just get better.
You surged up in depth chart pretty quick last offseason. You lost your black stripe quick. Just what do you think made these quick so fast?
I feel like my preparation before college is the high school I went to, as well as my self-determination and just my want to want to work here.
I think it took people by surprise to already see you as the second, one of the backup safeties on the depth chart, because you didn't necessarily come in with as much recruiting hype as some of the other ones, JJ and some of the other prospects. But did you feel underrated as a prospect coming here?
No, I felt like I was rated right. Coming out of Jersey, you just got to be different. I just feel like I had all the offers you could probably think of, but But obviously, you might have fucked down on the recruiting websites, but it doesn't matter when you get here. All the stars are winning.
What was it like to make that interception?
It felt good. I felt like all the hard work and all throughout the spring, all the teaching that Coach G gave me, just paid off. I just was ready to play when it came to me.
Taking the two deep as a true freshman, now with Latham moving on, there's an opportunity to have a bigger role this year. Just what do you expect going into your second year?
I just work to compete. Obviously, we run, whatever with how many safeties or whatever. But I'm just working, just compete. Work my tail off and make a role for myself.
How have you changed physically overall last season?
I would say I got a lot more aggressive. I gained some weight now, pushing towards 200 pounds now, and just working on getting started.
Coach Patricia, what have you seen from him, and what has it been like for you to be with him?
He's a great guy. I like him. Besides coaching, he's a great guy. He cares about his players. Obviously football-wise, he's a mastermind behind this. He's well respected in his football business. His Super Bowls, in his time being in the NFL. So I feel like he's going to reflect here too.
Whether it's as a starter or a rotational piece, what can people expect to see from Jaylen McClain in an expanded role?
I expect just to add value, form a role for this team and just make plays.
Do you feel a lot more comfortable this year compared to where you were last year at this point?
Oh yes, for sure. I feel like I'm starting to get used to everything here, and I feel like I'm just trying to build off what I did last year and just, like I said, add value, make a role, just make plays.
What?
I was going to say, Ryan said at the beginning of the spring about starting from scratch in a way, not living too much in the shadow of the national championship. How has the team really embraced that mindset and stay competitive in that mindset?
We have one already, so far. So, we're trying to stay determined and, just trying to dominate. And we're not living in the past anymore. It's like it never even happened. We're just trying to get another one.
All the coaches kind of mentioned they're having an A and B role. Do you have a B role that you're filling in? Get some reps in another position?
Obviously, right now I'm playing strong and free safety. Just trying to, craft myself and just, make myself more versatile for this team, whatever I got to do.
So you're getting some more reps now with that. It's kind of limiting his reps.
Right. Obviously, he's limited, like our coach they said. So, obviously, me and Malik are just, and Fahim and Leroy, Ryan Resist, we're all just working. Just competing, just getting better.
Thank you. Appreciate it.